Communities around the country honored the fallen today. Aaron Stuvey takes us to Mankato's Memorial Day ceremonies.
Aim, fire, aim, fire, aim, fire.
We're remembering those that didn't come back. That's what Memorial Day is.
Each Memorial Day, cemeteries and memorials are filled with people paying their respects to those who gave everything.
Just thinking about those that made the ultimate sacrifice and weren't able to make it back and enjoy these freedoms that they paid for.
Family and friends, alongside local veteran groups, decorate each site with flowers, recognizing the sacrifices made over all 250 years of the nation's history. That includes long past conflicts like the Civil War. The Boy in Blue Memorial was originally built in Mankato in 1892, the community's first memorial to fallen soldiers, but fell into neglect by the 1920s. That memorial was revived in 2015 and now stands as the community's newest memorial.
So those conflicts had to be memorialized, but there were more people living to do that from those conflicts. All the Civil War people were gone, so it took until 2010 for the effort to be organized. So it's ironic that the first became the last.
That long gap in time meant that when the Memorial Day service reached the Boy in Blue, it had a more historical presentation.
407 years ago.
When you're young and working and raising families and things, sometimes you don't make these events, but as you get older and realize the importance of it.
In Mankato, Aaron Stuvey, KUYC News Now.
Veterans and community members gathered at Minneopa's ceremony today to pay tribute to service members this morning. The National Guard, representatives and auxiliaries came together to remember the sacrifices that veterans have made and to honor their memories. They placed a flag and a wreath in remembrance of those who gave their lives in the line of duty and prayed for service members. At least 50 people attended to pay their respects, with many spending time by the graves of loved ones and family members. Flags and flowers dotted the landscape on a beautiful Memorial Day.